This is the biggest opportunity that activists have had for a very long time to challenge the policies of the last 20 years, because those policies have fundamentally failed. The policies of the state withdrawing from provision of public services and giving it to the private sector, and the policies of funding that via financial markets. That's one thing. And the second thing it means is much greater emphasis on solidarity, working together to challenge those systems of power that have enabled that neoliberal system to persist for the last 20 years.
How do you think ordinary people should be responding to the global meltdown?
Getting together, organising, coming up with their own practical solutions to some of the many problems that have been thrown up by the crisis, asking much more fundamental questions like what's banking for, what's finance for, how can we provide for public services without going back to an old sclerotic state? What other forms of organising are there that might serve citizens' needs better than the market or indeed the state in its old form? How can we in the North learn from activism in the South? A lot, a great deal. The South has been through this several times in the last 40 years, successive credit crunches of their own, local regionalised ones. They've come through with many different solutions. The grassroots in the global South are much better organised in many respects than in the North, and we can learn a lot about grassroots activism. What sort of opportunities does the G20 provide? Not very much if the concept of trying to lobby the G20 is simply talking truth to power. But if activists get active, get organised, make linkages between different campaigns, reach out to the grassroots, then they can deliver a strong message to G20 leaders as to the type of society, the way forward that they are seeking, and which would make for a saner, juster, more equitable world and a greener world. Is there any chance that the G20 will act? Not if it's following the agenda that's on the table at the moment, which is just a little bit of tinkering with regulation, a bit of changes on tax havens and so on. These need to be addressed, but much more fundamentally, states have got to address the issue of coming back into providing for public services, providing for pensions, providing for the public good. And that means a much more fundamental debate about what constitutes the public good and what the good defines it. But leaving the world up to the market, leaving it up to bankers, leaving it up to hedge fund managers, that is not the way forward. And those parties really have no place in the solutions that should be on offer.